Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today I got a box from Hasbro, and I wanted to share with you guys what they sent to me, and whether or not I like the figures that came out of it, and see how it is. So without further ado, let's sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch on my spring store today. Okay, so Hasbro sent me this box as a sample of different Transformers Legacy figures, just to check them out and to, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about what I think about them. And, I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts because, this is kind of cool that they did that they did this. You guys do know they sent me a box for Earthrise, and they sent me a box for Kingdom before, but now this is a little bit of a smaller box for Legacy, and that's fine. It's cool. Normally I mean, most of my figures I usually purchase as they come out in retail around the same time that you guys do, and I always get the figures late, right? So, for once, now I'm getting some of the, wave one of Legacy, and so taking a look at some of the stuff that I got here, I got Core Class Iquanus, and right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you right now, the packaging looks really nice, but I really hate this open window. I'm going to talk about this for the rest of the video until I actually take the figures out of the box, but I do not like the open window. And I also got Core Class Skywarp, and if you guys had already gotten the Core Class figures for Starscream, it's pretty much the same mold. And, again, there was a reason behind, I guess getting all three of them. Hot Rod's not in the box, but, getting those is pretty nice. I also got Dragstrip, which, again, open packaging. I am not liking that, but the art itself is really nice for Dragstrip, I will say. And for those of you who are unaware, one of the cool things is that there is a QR code on the back of the packaging that is supposed to give you a website that will tell you the tech spec. They're doing tech specs this way, and the reason why they're doing that is because now they have to put all the packaging in multi-language instead of making a different language for each country they put it in. And so what they've decided to do is that they decided to send you to a website where the tech spec will be, and it'll be a quick, short bio. It's not as long as Bob Budiansky's profiles, but they're really, really short. It's kind of cool. And last but not least, in the box, I also got Laser Optimus Prime. This one I have been waiting for because, well, here's the thing, I missed out on the first Laser Prime, but I do have Robots in Disguise, which 2001, Scourge, and which is Nemesis Prime, is the repaint of the G2 Laser Prime, and so now this is a brand new version of Laser Prime, and I really, really dig it. I'm actually really excited to get him out of the packaging. The artwork on him looks great, and of course you got some of that nice Legacy box art there. And the other reason why is because this guy needs someone to battle, and you're going to see that in the video. So let's get these figures opened up. But wait. There's more. They actually sent me a second box just as I was preparing to get ready to edit the this video, because I was wanting to get my smokescreen retrospective up for you guys. And so they sent me a second box, and I've got Arcee, Skids, and Bulkhead. And I'm going to take these guys out of the box now, so this way we can finally take a look at them all. Okay, first thing we're going to take a look at here is Core Class Skywarp, as he stands next to Core Class Soundwave, and behind them is their full class Voyager class figures from Earthrise with Skywarp, holding Megatron in gun mode from the accessory pack, along with my Netflix Soundwave, which I've customized. And, looking at him as a figure, he does look really cool as far as a small figure is concerned. But when you're getting a closer look at him, the biggest issue, he does have a pretty cool gun that he can use, but he doesn't have his arm cannons, and there are ports there that you can use if you want to make your own. But other than that, it's an alright looking figure, so let's transform him now. And getting a look at his jet mode, which you can see here, it is a fine looking jet. I do dig it. I think that he is still missing his arm cannons, and he does have, you know, his visible fist syndrome, but you can store his weapon, which does store in the underside of the nose cone there, and it's kind of cool looking. I mean, it's something different, but I really wish he still had his regular cannons, because when you compare him to his Earthrise counterpart, which you've got here, you can see as he's fully armed up with non-F missiles, along with his the arm blasters, and Megatron riding as a chariot. It is a much different looking thing, but both jets all together, I mean, I'm of course gonna like the bigger one, but you know, at the same time, it is still pretty cool. And moving on to Iquanus, which is based on his original G1 Pretender shell on the outside for robot mode, and of course his vehicle mode is based on his inner robot's motorcycle mode, so it is done a little bit differently this time, but it is still a pretty cool looking figure. Of course, he does come with an interesting weapon. His head sculpt is really nice. I really dig this figure. And if you take a look at the weapon itself, to my understanding, this weapon is supposed to connect with Skywarps and eventually with Hot Rods, which I don't have Hot Rod to make that comparison with, to merge them. But taking a look at the robot itself, again, it's just a fine looking figure, and I really, really dig it. I kind of do wish there was a full size one, but let's transform him now. And here we are. Here is his vehicle mode. Of course, he can pop a wheelie if he wants to. And if we bring in core class Skywarp over here, you can see the size comparison. And with his blaster, he is ready for battle. And let's just bring in core class Skywarp into robot mode as he rides along, since it's kind of cool to have a core class figure roll out with another core class figure. So here we go. And taking a look at Dragstrip, man, is this a good looking figure. I really, really dig him. It comes with his two twin blasters, which you can take one and merge with the other. It's not something that he could do before. His original G1 toy had a single blaster, and then of course he had the piece for his vehicle mode, but having the twin blasters is kind of cool. It's very posable, as you would expect any deluxe class figure to have. Getting a closer look at that figure, let's zoom in on him here. Get more focus, there we go, and you can see how good of a sculpt he is. And of course, looking at the back of him, that's the part that attaches to Menasor and, you know, disassembles. And then the engine there on his back of his legs is actually the same thing to do with his chest, because it's kind of part of the way that the original Transformer transformed, which I don't have you know, handy in my G1 Dragstrip. But oh man, he's just a solid looking figure. Really, really love this guy. Let's transform him. And once Dragstrip is in his vehicle mode, this is a solid looking car. I really, really dig this. You can see how he can, you know, transforms for combination. The blasters themselves can attach to the side. Of course, the original G1 toy had it where it was a blaster that attached to the back. But man, he just looks so good even with the blasters as he can roll. And man, I'm really digging this figure. I cannot wait to complete Menasor with him. And right now we're going to have Rumble as he comes in, and he is going to take Dragstrip away. And moving on to Prime Universe Arcee, as I have her next to my customized Earthrise mode version of Arcee, of G1 Arcee. And you can take a closer look at her figure. Her molding detail is really nice, and comparing her next to her G1 counterpart is kind of a cool thing, but at the same time, I really don't feel like this embodies Arcee, even though the molding on her is so good. Like, she's really highly detailed. She has the shield, which could come apart and become a, blade weapons for her on either of her arms. The wheels there become a drone in which she can kind of either deploy or use for something else if she wanted to. And, her head, like her face sculpt is really nice. I mean, I know some people probably don't want her to have a nose. Her legs are alright, and she is kind of posable in a lot of places. And she does have a little bit of waist swivel, but it's kind of weird how her waist is. It doesn't really work very well. And the other thing is that her backpack itself, it kind of has that wing profile, but it's only done kind of like pseudo in a way. And it can come apart, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, can it look better without all of these parts together? But yeah, she is an okay looking robot mode. I would like to see her colored a little bit differently, but I am digging the toy as the mold itself, and that really is what it boils down to. Do you really want your Prime Universe Arcee and to have it match the rest of your toys? And here, of course, you can take her motorcycle wheel, plug it into the back of her, like so. And then we're going to plug this back in. Again, like I said, I would have liked it if it had gone the opposite way, in that direction, so this way you can give her the wing profile, but you can only really do it this way, having the motorcycle face forward. I'm pretty sure if I mess around with it, maybe I can get it how I liked it to be. And I'm going to get both of her blade weapons in her arms. I think that there's a third-party one out there that you can probably do to add them, but at the same time, taking a look at both figures next to each other, I don't really... Arcee really needs a lot better TLC when it comes down to figures. So maybe a better version than this Earthrise toy, because I know so many people don't care for her. And this Prime figure, it's alright, but let's just get her into transformation. And you're probably noticing on these final steps here, I'm having a difficult time trying to get all of her pieces lined up, especially those panels, and then she can have the blades kind of store here on the back, which don't really look that good, but getting her transformed is a chore, but once she's in motorcycle, she looks fantastic, and next to another Deluxe class figure, she's not to scale because she's a huge motorcycle, just like in Transformers Prime, she did mass shifting, but in motorcycle mode, boy, does she look good. She's just a really solid looking motorcycle, and I am going to have her actually have a little friend ride her, and that is G1 Arcee is going for a ride. She's going to be firing on Decepticons, and we're going to have her also do a little bit more fun. And moving on to Skids, this is a great looking figure as well. He comes with a couple of different weapons here. He comes with his axe, which I do have the blaster attached. And I had it in such a way so it would also be a blaster, but he can hold it like an axe. But I'm really not feeling it as a melee weapon. It is an Energon clear weapon. I'm going to put it to the side. And his other gun that he can carry, he also can carry it either in his fist or on his forearm, just like G1 style. You can do so on the other side with the twin blasters, because when you compare him to his G1 counterpart, of course, it's going to be very similar, but he's very posable. Very, very posable. He can move his arms around in different ways, especially if you're comparing him. Like, just here, I'm going to bring in, bring him closer so you can take a closer look at his face sculpt. And just, on the back of him, the only thing really issue you can see here, he's unpainted. He needs some paint on the back of his legs, and he needs some labels there, which I'm sure Toy Hacks is going to accommodate for him. But, you know, overall, I really dig him. This is kind of the way that I wanted Skids to look when it comes down to it, to be an update to this G1 figure. And you can see how G1 Skids was like not posable at all. He had no knees, he had no elbows, even though he was sculpted with them. And it's very much the same toy, just this is how you update a classic G1 toy and do it in such a manner in which you're going to get pretty much the exact same toy done brand new. I really love the head sculpt too, especially comparing him to his original G1 counterpart. Let's get him transformed. And once he is in car mode, he rolls pretty well. He does have weapon storage, a couple of different ports. I do like the detailing on him. Very, very cool looking. This doesn't look right on the back there. Probably need something to cover up those windows. I can't wait for Toy Hacks. So we're going to get the blasters here up on the roof, like so. So he can come firing into battle if you want him to, which is also really cool. But on top of that, let's bring in G1 Skids so you can kind of see the difference between them. And I dig it. I really do. I just wish he was a little bit more angular like the G1 counterpart. I do like the hat, like it's kind of like molded hatchback. And they're going to roll away into the next figure, which is Bulkhead. And boy, oh boy, do I like this figure. I like this figure a lot. I know a lot of people, you know, are sitting there wondering like whether or not they should get him. Comes with a shield here on the back, which is what kind of gives him that full-on profile. And all of the images that you've seen kind of make it like a shield on his shoulder, which is, I don't know. I'm not digging it. I know he has the extra peg here that's kind of supposed to make it a little bit easier to peg in. Let's get that out. And put that up on his arm so you can kind of make it like another shield if you want to. I'm not a big fan of the blast shield. That's just not the way that I would display this Bulkhead figure. I'm just going to keep the whole canopy thing here on his back and give him that full profile. And then he's got these wheels, which make no sense. He's got his regular tires, but he's got wheels on his back. And I know that has to do with like the Bulkhead animation model. And then he comes with this chain gun, which is a little bit too small. It's Energon infused, so it's clear plastic, painted. I know that there are going to be some people who are going to make some third-party ones that really do some wonders, like Firetox or Larkin or someone are going to make a better chain gun that just looks better. And you can put it up on his shoulder like so, which is also kind of cool, but I think I would like a better blaster. But overall, he's a great looking sculpt. His face looks great. He's got the melee weapon, which you can smash stuff with, which is exactly what we're just going to do now. I'm going to move him to the side here. And I'm going to bring in this little panel here that Bulkhead smashed on me. And we're going to have Ratchet come in because Bulkhead, I needed that. And of course, sorry, which is what Bulkhead would probably say if it was a G1 universe. And then of course, his melee weapon can come off, which is a little bit tricky. It folds open like so, so you can reveal his fist underneath. Pop that off, close that. And you can see all the different peg holes on there, so you can attach a bunch of different weapons if you wanted to. If you wanted him to hold his blaster and have his melee ball all at once, you could do it that way too. That is an option if you want to. But boy, I'm really liking this figure a lot better than I know a lot of people are giving him credit for it, and I do recommend him. But you know, I also want to bring in a couple of other different Transformers here. Let's bring in Inferno, so you can see like the differences between them, because I know a lot of people like wanted to see the comparison because it's very similar in shape. But let's also bring in another Transformers figure, and that is Hound, because a lot of people compare Hound to Bulkhead for the same reason. But let's transform him. Alright, so once he is in vehicle mode, which you can see here, we can take the melee ball and take the machine gun, put it up there on the top. And the melee ball itself can use one of the peg holes on the side here to peg on the inside of the truck bed, which I am just going to toss that in there and close up these doors so this way that we have a full-on complete vehicle. And I think he looks great. I dig this vehicle completely. I know that some military folks do use it as well. And we're also going to compare him to Dragstrip, which really makes Dragstrip a little bit too big, or Bulkhead too small, whichever one you want to take a look at. And of course, the same thing with Arcee. That's probably my only complaint. He's a little too small. And same thing here with Inferno. Actually, he scales perfectly with Inferno, and I really, really dig them side by side together. So getting a closer look at Laser Optimus Prime, and you can see all of the molded detail. Makes him look fantastic. He's got missiles underneath the shoulders. He has got this one weapon which was part of his trailer, which I used for him to hold as a blaster, but it is better suited for him to be on his underarm there. His axe and his sword combine, like you can see, so I put the axe in one hand, and let's get the sword in another, and then look at the way that his shoulders move here. He actually has them separated. The actual shoulders don't move. It has a panel that only goes up about so far, which is alright. And then, of course, his head is fully posable. It's the same matrix on the inside, but it's a different way for you to access it. But overall, I mean, he looks good. That's the thing about this particular, figure. The leg sculpting is a lot different than the Earthrise toy, but overall, he is a good-looking figure. His trailer does become a base, which is similar to the original Laser Optimus Prime base mode, except it doesn't have as much weaponry, but it does have a lot of peg holes. And the real reason I got this figure is because I wanted to compare him to this Megatron, so the two of them can fight each other. It's G2 Laser Optimus versus Tank G2 Cobra built, rail cannon on his shoulder Megatron. And you gotta admit, they look great together. And let's bring in Robots in Disguise Scourge so you can see the differences between the two. I've got his blaster that he actually came with, which is different than the one that he did before, but this is what I'm talking about here. The shoulders can only go up about this far, and they can go up on this side as well, so the sword can only really hold it up just a little bit, and that's the exact same range of motion that this figure gets, so they didn't improve upon that. But this figure does have some better posability than this one does. I mean, this one doesn't have ankle tilt, and whereas the other one does, so you can have some same posability, but for the most part, like, you can really see, like, there's similar posability but different, and that is, I guess, a thing. And if we're going to talk about his actual base mode here, just getting it from this point here, you can actually move the top part, and the thing can, does transform into his trailer. And it's done a little bit differently than the other one. It doesn't have as much playability, but I guess that's all you're really going to do with this particular trailer is going to turn it back into the tanker truck, and it's rather small. You can kind of see it there, but it does work, and it is functional. Bringing in the trailer from Robots in Disguise, the 2001 Scourge, you can see the size difference, just how much bigger this is in comparison to this one, but the molded detail is the same. And yes, this one did fold out in a similar fashion. It had a missile launcher in there, and it had the whole base mode, and you can see all the missiles and stuff like that I've gotten there. But I'm not going to try and fully on transform that, because that would be something where I need to clean this thing off, because I haven't cleaned it off in quite a while. Now, moving along, taking a look at Laser Optimus Prime versus his Earthrise counterpart. This is where you can see the similarities in the mold, where they've actually retooled Earthrise Prime into Laser Optimus, that the legs are somewhat different, but they're about the same, and that is okay. I do like both figures. I think that personally, I kind of like them both for different reasons. And here is Laser Optimus Prime standing next to Rodimus Prime, both with their swords ready to strike on Decepticons. Now let's move on to transformation. Alright, so once he is in his truck mode, I'm going to move him over to the side here, and just so you can see the comparison next to Generation 2 Megatron in his tank mode, and I think the two of them look fantastic next to each other. And it's going to be great to having battles with them in vehicle mode or in robot mode overall. And let's also compare him next to Robots in Disguise Scourge so you can see what the original mold looked like and how much bigger it was by comparison. It is astounding how much bigger the original toy was. And it is kind of one of the things that I really feel like it kind of stinks that like the trailers have gotten so much smaller, but even the truck modes have as well, which is kind of unfortunate. However, when you compare him next to his Earthrise counterpart, which we have here in his truck mode, you can see the size, like even the new trailer is smaller. And even though the cab for Optimus is smaller, the Laser Prime trailer is a lot smaller than the other one. And for another comparison, here is Kingdom Rodimus Prime next to Laser Optimus, which Rodimus at least is much larger. And here is a comparison with the other Autobots of the wave. Now, for final thoughts of this entire wave, of course I don't have Kickback yet, so I can't make a comparison to him, and I do, as of this recording, have not yet found Blaster, but I'm hoping to get him soon. But if I was to give you guys my final thoughts, Iquanus, really great toy for its small size. Skywarp, small Seekers are not my thing. I rather have the full-size Voyager one, but if you like the smaller core class figures, go for it. Dragstrip, great figure, awesome figure. Arcee, not so great robot mode, really great motorcycle mode. I don't feel it captures the character. Skids is great. Skids is fantastic. Definitely pick him up. Bulkhead, must get. Absolute must get. Love the figure, love the character, love both Prime and animated Bulkhead, and this kind of captures both. Laser Prime, I wish was a little bit better. That's best that way I can describe it. I wish he was a little bit better, a little bit bigger, and I don't think that they needed to change much out of the old mold, and they just needed to basically update it with some more modern articulation. They didn't need to completely change the way they did everything. So that's really kind of my final thoughts on them. But I want to thank Hasbro once again for sending me this box with all these different figures. And again, I always give you guys my honest thoughts about these figures, whether they're good, whether they're bad, and whether or not you should definitely pick them up. So, but I wonder what you guys think of Legacy Wave 1. Are you excited about some of them? If you're skipping some of them? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers discussions, retrospectives, news, and more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.